Afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd. And welcome to Throwback Thursday. I'll explain more about that in just a second. Today we are lucky enough to be here at 3 o'clock on the last Monday of the month, and that means it is time for the August 2015 World Docs Virtual User Group meeting, where we are going to talk about some exciting things today, the new document list in GX4 and some features that have been added to it. And Mary Jo's going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the changes to the profiling screen. Also very exciting stuff. I also want to make you aware that you are entitled to GX4 if you have maintenance, and therefore we will talk about how to get GX4 by simply requesting it. We'll talk about that at the end. Stay tuned. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. This thing right here, this big box, is the GoToWebinar control panel. If you are still looking at this, it's because you have not pressed this little button here that is the arrow that points to the right. That is our button that will slide this control panel right off the right-hand side of your screen so that it does not cover up anything else that you may want to see. When you press that button and when this slides off the right-hand side of your screen, this button then turns into one with an arrow that points to the left. That means that pressing it again will cause this to slide back onto your screen, because if you are shy and you have a question, you are going to want to type it here. Now, this is where we get to the Throwback Thursday thing, even though, yes, I know it's Monday. Leanne, at a loss for words here, Leanne had a personal day today, so we asked Patty to join us and be our moderator, and Patty turned out to be sick this morning. She tried to even change the next webinar, next virtual user group meeting announcement on our site. She couldn't even do that. She is stuck in bed with all 7 of her children running rampant in her house. So we will pray for Patty, and we will carry on. So it's Throwback Thursday, because Mary Jo and I, when we first started recording these 4 or 5 years ago, sat in this very room, and it was just us. In fact, I think we just handed a phone back and forth and shared our computer by sliding it across the desk. So we're kind of doing that today, and we will be our own moderators. Now, if you've attended before, you know that I call Leanne our humble moderator. In an act of full disclosure, I'm going to have to admit that I am not a humble moderator. I'm not a humble person. But Mary Jo will try to balance that by being a humble moderator. So when I'm talking, Mary Jo will be our moderator, and when Mary Jo is talking, I will be your moderator. And what that means then, the reason I started babbling about that, is if you type a question here, whoever of us is moderating at that time will recognize that you have a question. We will interrupt the other one. We will ask your question on your behalf. Don't forget to hit the send button after you type your question. If you don't hit the send button, we'll never get it. If we start to babble or we get off track or you have a follow-up question, just keep typing them here. Just keep remembering to hit send, and we will make sure to stay on track and to fully answer your question. If you're not feeling shy, hit this little button that looks like a hand with an arrow pointing upwards in front of it. That means raise your hand. And when you do that, the humble or the not humble moderator, whichever one of us it is, will interrupt the other one and unmute your microphone so you can ask your own question. That microphone will remain unmuted until we're done answering your question. So again, feel free to interrupt, interject, keep us on track. You will be able to speak to us as we are answering your question. So without any further ado, I will press all of the magic buttons and get us into a World Docs file list screen where Mary Jo will just begin talking and talking and talking about the file list screen. Mary Jo?
I don't know about talking and talking and talking, but we'll see. So we are looking at a GX4 list. I believe Paul has this maybe in his favorite list. So I'm seeing all of the files on a file list. Now this can be your client files, this can be, or a certain client file, I should say, and all their documents. It could be your accounting documents. It doesn't matter. What we're going to talk about applies to all of those list screens. It's just a document list screen. So first off, I'm just looking at it in its normal view, and I've got my little date modifieds in here. So, and I don't believe, Paul, you've given me keyboard and mouse, so I cannot move around. So I'll have to wait just a second because I don't have that. Is it moving?
Oh, I can move around.
Yeah, did you give me keyboard and mouse?
Did you ask me for it, Mary Jo?
I did ask for it, but I did not get it.
You know what? All the times we had to reconnect because we couldn't get it to record.
Yeah, I'm going to request it again.
No, so you got it. Here it comes.
Thank you. All right, now we're back on track. Maybe. All right, there we go. I can move. It was a little weird not being able to move the mouse there. All right, so I'm on a list, and I can see my modified date is today. If I scroll down a little bit, I might have another qualifying modified yesterday, all of that. So first off, I'm going to tell you, if you don't like that, and because already we have our sort on modified date, so all of our documents are already modified, and if you don't want these just taking up another line, we can get rid of that. Just like right-clicking on modified, we can say whether we want to hide the grouping or we want to show the grouping. So right now it's showing it, so if I hide it, all those little date modifieds go away, and I'm just seeing a nice clean document list in the order of the last document that I did. So it has my most recent at the top and the oldest at the bottom. If I do want those, I can right-click and I can show the groupings. And now I've got those modified dates back. So that's the first simple thing that you can do to just kind of clean that up a little bit. If you don't need those when you modified it, who cares? You're just going to see it in that order. Or if you do want that, you can turn it on. The other thing that we can do is we have our normal list view that we're all used to seeing in GX3, but now we have a tile view. So you can click on this little tile view and it will break down your documents. Let that load here for a minute. I don't know how many documents Paul had in there, but now I've got this tile view that I can see. Let me get over to my 10 files. So I've just got it broken down, and see how when I'm scrolling, I'm getting down into all those documents that were modified today, and it let me scroll down here. And if I get into the modifieds here, I can scroll some more. I guess I have to scroll my mouse down a little bit. Yeah, I'm not seeing my whole tiles there, but there we go. So now I can scroll down, and then I also can scroll, I've got a little mini scroll bar in here. I got one in here. I can scroll through and see all of those files. So this is my tile view that I have. So there's just this little different way of looking at things. I've got my first tile, my second tile, and so on. So that's that one. I'm going to go back into my list view, kind of a partial to that. I like this one. I also on the toolbar, so it makes it much easier to just get in there and change my sort. So if I want to change it, sort files another way. Right now we've got 3 that we've saved. We've sorted our description A to Z, we've sorted by doc ID A to Z, and we've sorted by date modify, the newest to the oldest, and then by description. This has a two sort levels here. But if I want to do sort another way, I can click on that, and you'll see I have 3 different levels I can go down to. I can do date modified, then by description, then if I wanted to do it by doc type, I could change that, and I could change it down to doc type or category or whatever it is that I want to do. We'll pick category here. So now I'm sorting by date modified, then by description, then by category. If I say OK, I then have that triple level sort here, and that's how it's doing it. So you can change this back and forth however you want. There's my new one that I just put in there. And as I keep building new ones, sort files another way or another way, it'll just keep adding these on there. So I have these different ones that I can do. So if I wanted to flip back and forth, I can go to this one. Now it's sorting it that way. If I wanted to change it and go back, I can do it by the one I just had created or my date modified and then description, whatever it is that I want. I can change that with 3 different ones. So you can just keep sorting another way and changing that option. The customize screen gives you a couple of other things. Now before, once we used to change our way that we're viewing something, let's say that we clicked modify, and let's say that we added a column in here, and we did a couple of different things, and we wanted to save that for us. We used to have to go up to display and then save the window style, and that would save that for us. Now what you can do is under customize is you can make this my favorite view. And when you make that your favorite view, every time you come in, that's going to default to that because that's your favorite view and that's the one that you like. So that's how you can save that. The line fonts, color, and spacing opens up this great big window over here that gives you control over how you're grouping these, what you want in the first line. Do you want the text hits, all of these checked out, all of these different things? You've got some options in here to play with. Once you've changed this, you can save it just for you. If you're a manager, you can save it for everyone. So it's just giving you some spacing and some different things here for multi-lines to come in there. If you want the label color, right now it's red. If If you wanted to change it, you can change this to a different color. I'm just going to click on it. You can change the label font. You can change the label color. Again, this is just kind of a personal preference, so you can go in and you can play with that and how much space you want before or after each of the lines. And then you can just go ahead and say OK, and again, save it for whichever right level you have. If you add a column, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take my description. Whoops, I'm sorting there. I'm going to grab my description and give myself a little space here. And let's say I want to add the doc type. So I'm going to insert a column, and I'm going to go to my cabinet fields, to the doc type, and I'm going to add the description. And so now I've got the document type description on my column list. I can change this to then make this my favorite view so that stays in there. And then now you see that I've got like these different, it might give me a little extra space or not enough space, and I want this to kind of space itself out properly in these columns. Well, this little button right over here will set that and give me the best view that I can get with this. And I'm going to try to open this a little bigger again. Is that my full view, Paul? It just doesn't seem to be getting any bigger. But anyway, that will space these columns out to give me the best widths for each of them that it can do. Now, I put the full document description. You might just put the code, which might just say EC or something like that for email correspondence. It just depends on how much space that you want to take up. And then the last thing I'm going to show you on our document list is they now have a new view over here. So before, and you still can, you can view the document, but down here, the view, if I want to view what this document is, it gives me a little sidebar that I can just click this and just do a quick internal view here of what that document is to see if it's the right one. So I can definitely change some things if I don't want to see that and click it again, and it will hide it over here. I'm sorry? Yeah, up here. There we go. It's this little arrow pointing to the right up here. So I'm going to go back to my modified. I'm going to get just a Word document, or here's, let's go into, of course, all those Word documents are password protected, but here's a customer list. I could just preview that. And if I want to hide it, I can just throw it back to the right. So that's just another new way that you can see things over here instead of having to go down at the bottom. Our filters are now our tags. We used to have a tag button over here, filters, that they just renamed. It works exactly the same. So you still have all of your, you can sort by message, you can sort by whatever information you have on there, categories, whatever, doc types. You still have that, still works exactly the same. They just changed the name to filters instead of tags. Other than that, that is your document list, and I'm going to turn it over to Paul.
And I'm going to talk about the profiling screen, which has also changed even more drastically than, we're having hardware problems, even more drastically than the list has changed. I'm going to get into this email here, and trying to get rid of my control panel. There we go. Into this email, I'm going to hit the profile edit button right here and take you to the profile. Now, the profile looks a lot different. It is sleeker, it is more streamlined, and you do not jump out to other screens nearly as often as you used to. It used to be that depending on what you wanted to change and how you wanted to change it, you had to jump from here to here to here to here to here. Now they've tried to put everything all in this one place. We'll start up here with the description, just like it was always a description. But then down here, there used to be a comment box that if you were a tab person like me, somebody who moves from field to field with tabs, and you happen to mistakenly tab into that comment box, it was like, extracting teeth trying to get out of that comment box. It was incredibly difficult. You could get stuck in there, and you might never get home. Comments now, if you're up here typing the name of the title or description of the document, and you hit enter, you are in the comments box. If you didn't mean to be there and you hit backspace, you are out of the comments box. So I can type, this is a comment, and now I have added a comment, and so therefore I have this extra field. If I were to delete that comment, that field would go away. So it is now a natural extension to the description box. I think that's very cool because it doesn't take up any space when it's not being used, which is usually 99.97624% of the time. And when it is being used, it pops right in for you to put as much text as you want. If you're familiar with the comment box, I believe it's 5,000 characters that you can put in there. Next thing is, they don't call these profile groups anymore. They call them cabinets. A lot of people still referred to them as cabinets before they changed the name, so they kind of buckled under the pressure and started calling them cabinets themselves. If you remember, if you wanted to change profile group, or what we now call cabinet, you had to click a button, go to a list, check what you wanted, click an OK, and get back here. Now, it's just a drop-down. So if you want to change from client files to email, or from email to client files, all you have to do is that. Now, here's one. Everybody knows that this shows you your most recently used items in this field or any field. And this, if it doesn't look like a button anymore, but if I click it, I still get my complete list of all my clients. And I can select one this way, or I can hit escape and get back here. And most people also know that if you really want to put the name directly into the field, you have to type the number with the right number of leading zeros, 10376. I don't even know what that's going to do for me. But this is the way it works now. Watch this. That you could not do before. This is new, being able to type text into the field for the client number and have it actually search the underlying list and produce a list of possible options. That is huge. It is to me. I don't know about you, but to me that's huge. I used to always be jumping to that other screen, typing, clicking, selecting, getting back. It was very hard to do. Same thing for any of these fields. If I type something in here, it's going to produce a list of possible selections. Okay. Categories used to be something that you had to do after the profile screen. It wasn't even on the profile screen. Now, if I just type something and hit enter, I have selected outgoing. If I want to also select incoming or index, or I want to select something else, I don't know what my categories are. So if you don't know what your categories are, you can select them the same way you did before, or you can just type and select them that way. And they will be added to the list this way. You can remove categories using this button here. So the fact that you can simply type categories in there, that's huge. The fact that you can add them and remove them from this screen, that's huge too. The whole point is we're getting to a point where we don't have to go off this screen and we don't ever get stuck anywhere. We used to get stuck in the comments field. Now we don't. We used to have to go all over the place to get to client list or to get to cabinet or profile group, as they used to call it. Those things are all now selectable from this screen, or specifiable, if that's even a word, from this screen by simply typing in the field and selecting from your list of available options. So that, in a nutshell, is how the profiling screen has changed in GX4 for the better. One other thing, you can save your defaults so that you can say, I always want it to default to doc type being EM. I always want it to default to author typist being P. Purdue. I always want it to default to a certain client because I'm working on them 97% of the time right now. Or you can create a quick profile. But the point is, you can set your defaults and be able to have it always come up with P. Purdue, always come up with email because 80% of what you do is email, always come up with whatever it is you want, and not have to go some mystical other place to do that. It's all right under this Save Default screen. And so that's all I have to talk about as far as the new profiling screen. I promised to mention how to get GX4, but before I do, I'm going to tell you that next month we're taking one very broad topic and making it the entire subject of our virtual user group meeting. It is lists. And by lists, I don't mean this list, which we just looked at. I mean those lists like document types or categories or clients or matters or users, how to manage those lists, how you can print them, how you can organize them, how you can add to them, delete from them, make something inactive, those sorts of things. It's kind of a mystical thing that not many people really understand how you can manage those lists. We're going to unlock the mystery. We're going to show you how to do that. If you want GX4, you are certainly entitled to it as long as you're on maintenance. Most people are on maintenance. So all you need to do is send me an email, and that's paul.purdue, like the school, not the chicken, P-U-R-D-U-E, paul.purdue at attorneycomputersystems.com. Now, if you were to forget that, you can also always go to our website, which is Attorney Computer Systems, emphasis on the plural, systems. And once you get there, one of the things you can do is you can click on this Contact Us link at the top of the page. Not Contact Technician, that's how we connect to your machine, but this Contact Us link, those emails happen to come to me as well. So just in case you forget that it's paul.purdue and you forget that it's Purdue like the school, not the chicken, and you forget that that's P-U-R-D-U-E, well, as long as you can remember the rest of it, attorneycomputersystems.com, you can get here and fill out this form. Now, while you're here, you may want to notice that we have, of course, all of our video content. And if you just click on that video word, you get a page that describes each of our different video offerings. Or if you simply hover over the word videos, you get our drop-down list. We have a video user group, a virtual user group meeting for each of our three products, Tabs 3, Practice Master, and World Docs. We have our live coffee pot webinar series that I put on every month. We have our 2 series of recorded videos, Mary Jo's eBite video series, short little snippets of information, very succinct topic, very succinct tip that she'll give you, and she records one each month for Tabs, one for Practice Master, and one for World Docs. Or the longer format Paul and Mary Jo show, where we take a broader topic and one of us will go back to a computer and actually get very deep into a certain topic and describe all sorts of things about it. So be sure to take advantage of those. They are there for the taking. If you click, for instance, on the World Docs Virtual User Group Meeting, usually you will find registration information for the next webinar. We still see today's, the one we're currently attending, and that's because Patty's not feeling well today, so we are going to let her wait until tomorrow to update that. And then as you scroll down, we get down to the recorded versions of every, in this instance, World Docs Virtual User Group Meeting that we've ever had. So lots of content here, lots of information. Be sure to take advantage of it and learn everything you can. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month. Have a great month and a great afternoon. Bye-bye.